Hey guys, in this video we will discuss and understand about the Azure App Configuration. Now, when we are building the web applications, ASP.NET Core API app or ASP.NET Core application, web application in short, or maybe Java or Python, whatever. And uh, with this application, when we want to connect to the Azure resource, maybe Azure storage or probably the Azure database or all that. What we need is that we need connection strings. And generally, what we do is that we basically have two options to use this connection strings with our application is that, for example, in ASP.NET Core, we make a use of app settings, right? App settings.json file. And in that JSON file, we create connection string. So maybe we are connecting to database, we are connecting to the Azure storage, or probably the Redis cache, right? Whatever. So wherever the connection string is required, what we do is that we prefer to store such things into the uh, app settings. The other approach is also that what we do is we can basically store this in the key vault and then we use it. Now here there is a facility which has been offered by Microsoft Azure. It's named as Azure App Configuration. So I'm just gonna search for app configuration here, right? App configuration, and here what we can do is that we can create a app configuration and all the connection strings, okay, those things that we store in it. So what exactly is this? So here it is clearly mentioned that Azure App Configuration is a centralized service for managing application configuration settings, and feature flags across multiple applications and environments. So whatever those we have, the configuration values, we can store this, and it's being managed over here through this app configuration. It is centralized, so we can access it across multiple cloud deployed resources, maybe ASP.NET Core web app, ASP.NET Core API application, okay, or might be we do have the other resources like functions and so forth. Everywhere we can do that. Okay, so the advantage of this app configuration is that it offers more flexibility and scalability uh, than the very traditional app settings in Azure App Services, right? So technically speaking, this is cloud-based service, and this allows developers to store and manage configuration data in a key value pair and feature flag centrally. And one of the great thing with this app configuration is that it is designed for distributed application running across multiple environments with different SDKs as well as maybe containerized application or services. So let me go here and then click on create. So here I'm giving the name here, and let me go for West US here, and then I'm going to give the name to that as my app config, right? 001. I'm doing that. Excuse me. Right. Okay. So this is already there. I'm gonna say here MS. Correct. Well, now one of the important thing is that this is having an additional cost, right? So we can go for free developer account, developer pricing tier, standard or premium. The pricing details are here. So let's see the pricing details. It is very important for you guys to know about this because with Azure, whatever you are deploying, right, that may have cost. So it is important for you to know about it. So these are the pricing tiers available. So if I go for the developer pricing tier, right, so this is free. This is for low volume development. This is suitable, right? Unlimited resource per resources per subscription. We are having the 500 MB of the storage per resource. Okay, and then there is a revision policy that's available for 7 days, and that change for standard as well as premium. So with the different cost, we are having a different with a different pricing tier. We are going to get the different features and facilities through this. So let me go back, and right now I'm going to go for the free one over here. So let me again show that free one to you. Right. So here, this is an evaluation and trial use. We have 10 MB and the revision is for 7 days. Correct. So as per your requirement, you can basically go for the principal pricing tier. Of course, this for the deployment purpose and for high scalability purpose, you will have to go for the standard or premium. I suggest premium here. Okay, right. Now here the enable application is only available for the pricing here. So I'm just gonna go for an access settings. I will be accessing this over the keys, right? Authentication mode is local. Advanced, I'm gonna keep the rest of the details as it is here, and let me go for the review and create. So this will be validated and it will be created. So the advantage of the app settings, sorry, Azure App Configuration is that it integrates with Azure services and SDKs for .NET, Java, Python, and this complements with Azure Key Vault. And you know that Azure Key Vault is used for the secrets. Of course, we don't use Azure App Configuration for storing the secrets, but what we can do is that we can basically integrate this with Azure Key Vault also, and then we can make it available to our application. Okay, so what advantages does this offer to us apart from the centralized management? It has a feature flag which is having so Azure App Configuration provides built-in support for features, for feature toggling to enable gradual rollout and A/B testing. And the other advantage is that this provides a facility of labelization under the different environment. Means maybe we are having the developer environment, so we do have a separate configuration settings. We are having testing separate, for production separate, that we can do it. And what we can do is that, like, we can change this, dynamically update this without any redeployment requirements, right? Because this has been centralized managed. So once you change it at up, let's say for example, if you are having the database connection string and that has been used by Azure, sorry, ASP.NET Core Web App, ASP.NET Core API service, as well as the function, right? Like that, probably some other applications are also using to access the database. What you can do is that you can change. So let's say that earlier your applications were using database 1, now it is going for database 2, so you can directly make changes in app configuration level and that will be directly reflected. So it is dynamically uh, dynamically updated. Okay, this also supports multi-tenancy, right? And like that. Of course, yes, this comes with the additional cost that I already told you. Okay, so now let me go here to the resources, and let me explain you the details here. So here we do have endpoint, that is azconfig.io, with whatever the name that you have given. The pricing tier that we have selected as free. Our location is West US, correct? That's what that we have. And now I'm going to take you to the operations over here. And here with the operations, we do have the configuration explorer, right? So the configuration explorer, and what we can do is that now we can put our keys at this place. Okay, that's what that we can do. So we can put our configure the connection string to the database or all the other details directly over here. So let me go and click on create. So we do have three options. Key value. So this is the key value what we are actually going to create. Okay. into the app configuration. The second thing, what do we have is the key value, key vault reference. So we can directly integrate this with a key vault. And then there is AI configuration is also available. So I'm going to go for here into the key, right? And then what I'm actually going to do over here is that, like here, I'm going to put my connection sync to the database. Right now, you know that when we are using ASP.NET Core type of application, right? So in this ASP.NET Core type of application, you know that like we do have an app settings.json, and that app settings.json has a connection string. So I'm going to use the same thing here. So I'll say here connection strings. Okay, and then I'm going to give the name for that. So I may say that my application con str, that's what it is. And then what I'm actually going to do is that I'm basically going to make a use of this value box for the value. So what I'm going to do is, let me open the start another instance of my browser here. In my resource group, right, let me check. So I do have these things. So what I will be doing is that I'm just going to create a database here. So I'll say that Azure SQL. Let me create it. Right. Okay. Over here, Azure SQL database. Right. And I'm going to create it. Wow. And over here, I'll just give the name as ecom. There is no server available, so I'm going to create a server here. Right. So I'll say that ecom server, and it is there in I'll say here I'm going to create this into SQS. I will be using the SQL authentication over here with my user ID and password. Correct. Okay. Right. And this will be available on the public endpoint. This will access all my Azure deployed services. And it's also going to take my current IP address. Okay. Over here. Right. Uh, One thing that I will have to look over here is about the type of workload. So I'm going to go for the development environment, which I have forgotten to do that. I'm going to save the cost for the demo. I'll go to the configure database. Here, this is what my server lace is. Correct. Okay, so that's what that I do have here, right? And I'm going to go here for 1 GB database. So even the cost is negligible just for the sake of demo that I'm doing, right? This is available on public endpoint. All my Azure deployed services will access that. My client IP address will be registered over there. Rest everything is, I'm going to keep it as default. Okay, and the database is supposed to be created. So I'm going to create the database name ecom under the database server. Right. So I'm going to create this and this connection string for the database that I will be using over there. Okay. So let me go back. So let this be completed, and then over here the value will be like this. I'm going to say here server is equals to TCP colon and then whatever my server is. So I'll say that I'm going to change this server name dot database dot windows.net. Okay, I'll have the port 1433, that's an SQL Server port. Initial catalog, that is the name of the database, is ecom, right? I'll have user ID is equals to my user ID. Okay, password, I'm gonna put my password over here, right? I'll say that. Okay, I'm just gonna say here trust server certificate is equals to true. Okay, so this is what that I am putting here, right? So let me go back to my database deployment over here. It is still deploying that, no worries, right? And I can have the labeling for that. So this will be optional over there. So if it is for dev, we can have dev, or otherwise we can very well create the test or prod type of label. This the one this I already told you, correct? So this is what that we can do over here in this configuration explorer. Okay, and once this is done, then what we can do is that we can basically use this in our application, whatever the ASP.NET Core app or other type of application, you can use it over there. Okay, so my database is created here. Ecom is the name of the database. I'm gonna go here to the database connection strings, and let me copy the connection string from here, right? And let me put paste it, right? Okay, and here I'm gonna put my password, right? Apply. So the key value is been created. We can, if at all you want to edit it, you can go for edit from here. You will be able to edit this. This is what the dynamic update. So you can directly update it from here, and then the client application will be directly able to access it, or I should say the resource who want to use it will be able to access it. We do have direct change through the JSON configuration altogether here, right? Then we can keep on add value, add a key reference, keyword reference, all the things which we can actually do it from this. Okay, this is what is it, right? Then we do have the app inside configuration for this. Okay, these are the settings which are there. Now I'm going to go here to the utilization part of that. So we are having the app configuration that is created, and now when we are trying to access it into our ASP.NET Core API application, I need access settings from that. So let's click on it over here, and then we will be using the connection string directly into our client application, right? So we will be doing this right in the next video, right? So we will be able to access this app configuration using this connection string in our client app. Now the question arises over here, as I already told you, that this is going to provide us an entire centralized configuration. So we directly put a connection string here into our configuration manager, or all right, sorry, our configuration explorer, right? We can put everything into that, all my database connection strings, multiple databases, redis cache, the storage, everything that we can put it, and whoever wants it, they will be directly able to access it. So it is not necessary for us to repeat the code again and again and again. For example, let's say there are 5 ASP.NET Core APIs, and everyone is going to connect to the same database server for that matter. So we will have to give the connection string to everyone. Correct. We'll have to give the connection string to everyone in its subsetting. So this type of repetitive coding will be completely eliminated with the help of this app configuration altogether over here. Of course, that We should also be knowing its boundaries or limitations. You do not use this to store any sensitive data. Should not be used to store sensitive data uh, like whatever. Maybe the passwords and all that. You shouldn't do that. Okay. It comes with the additional costs. This is separate Azure resource. So naturally, for the planning of your application, you will have to think about this, right? This is now gonna be accessed over the network, right? Means during the runtime, this will be accessed. So your application will access to the app configuration over here with the help of the connection string, and then it will go to it will go to, let's say, to the database server. So this is probably going to have some latency introduced into it, right? Because this is going to fetch the configuration at runtime, and this may introduce some latency if it is not handled properly. So you'll have to consider that. Okay. So these are some of the important things that you should keep in mind. Right. So now the question arises over here is that, like with our app settings, with our app services, we have app settings. So how it is different from it? So basically, Azure App Configuration is centralized for all the environments. So whatever this is centralized. Whereas Azure App Service Configuration is written per app service. It's specific to that. Okay. There is no dynamic update facility available for app settings, where the app configuration has the support for dynamic updates. Correct. Uh, we do have the access to this control through the RBAC, right? Okay, so RBAC is there. The RBAC is supported here, so we can define the roles and assignments for that. Okay, so go to this and okay, and search for that app configuration data owner, right? So we do have this is control with the help of RBAC. Whereas in app settings for app service, this facility is not there. Instead, we make a use of some built-in environment variables. And great thing is that app configuration is really strong because it supports the multi-tenancy, and for app services, this is having a limited support over there. Now, cost-wise, as I already told you, this is additional resource. So naturally, there is a cost which is involved into that. So we have already seen this. We already talked about the pricing tier for that. Okay, so app settings, whereas this included into app services, right? Now, where this should be useful or there, where should we go for the app Azure app configuration? So, if you are building a microservice based or multi-environment based a multi-environment application, right? Then Azure app configuration is really a very powerful tool for streamlining the application configuration management. Okay, this is really useful, so better you should go for this, right? Considering the advantages, I must say, I'll repeat, considering the advantages, the cost is really manageable, right? Rather, based upon your requirement, if you are working on mission critical applications where lot many microservices are there, and then you need to have very complex configuration to manage, like Redis connection string, various databases, and some other type of key values. Then instead of repeating it in every code, so it's better to go for the configuration. So there. Now we do have the feature manager over there. So what exactly the feature manager is? Right. So, feature manager in Azure App Configuration, this enables developers to control feature flag in the application through the structure and dynamic interfaces. Now, the question arises over here is that what exactly the feature flag is? Right. So this feature flag basically helps you and toggling across the various flags that like what to do, what not to do, right? Which is really helpful for A/B testing. So like that, you do have a labeling for every key, and then let's say when your application in a develop mode, the different key has to be used. It's in product test mode, different key has to be used. It's in a production mode, the different key has to be used. So basically, we can do this over here with the help of this feature flag. Okay, so that's what the thing is. But of course, what happens is that, like, right, this is controlled through the feature manager. Again, it is like a centralized feature which we do have it, right? And this is really useful to decouple the deployment from the decouples the deployment from testing as well as from release. Okay, and going to provide you the entire center control. So these are the important facts of the uh, configuration, Azure App Configuration. So we already have one connection string over here, right? What we will be doing is that in the next video, we will see how we can basically make a use of this in our ASP.NET Core API app, right? Thank you guys. Thanks.